There I am. Am I there? There I am. Hey, everybody. Good afternoon. It is 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Georgia, Saturday, the 29th of November, just a couple of days after Thanksgiving, if you do that sort of thing. And I am still by myself without LPH, unfortunately, who, because of circumstances, has to stay with her father, which I'm sure many of you who are familiar with the channel are quite aware of by now, because today marks week 16. Yes, we are in the 4-month territory at this point as we get ready to jump in. I think we do a little better on the live streams when I'm able to do it later, but situation being what it is, I'm not able to do it later, unfortunately. Also, and I'll mention it again later, I did not advertise this on Facebook because Facebook won't let me. I don't know if anybody even comes here from Facebook, but Facebook is blocking me from putting up posts, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. I see Austin Bird is here, as well as Kay Munin, asking about pickups already. Golly. Thanksgiving, we really didn't do much of anything for Thanksgiving. Stay home, no interaction with family, none of that kind of stuff. Stayed here again with her father. My wife did cook, nothing major, although she does like to bake. She is a good cook. So yeah, nothing major over the holiday. We couldn't do much. But yeah, we are in week 16 now with her father, taking care of him in search of permanent placement for him because of his situation. As we prattle on, uneventful week otherwise. Hope everybody had a good time. Again, like if you do the holiday, hope it was well for you. Anybody notice that with Facebook? I wonder about that with all the social media. Munin wants to know why wouldn't Facebook let me post. According to them, I spam. It says something to the effect of, I don't have it right in front of me, something to the effect of, we are limiting your posts in order to keep the community safe and protected from potential spam. And I'm like, not letting me even post on my own page. I mean, I post on my page images, or I put questions up for people on the Facebook, or I post links to my videos on my YouTube channel. I mean, the whole purpose behind being involved in Facebook in the first place is to promote the YouTube channel and, you know, bring people in so that we can all hang out and have a good time. But no, Facebook isn't having it. And according to them, I'm spamming on the site. And we're limiting your posts. And by limiting your posts, I mean, like for the last 3 days, I've been able to put up like one thing a day. It's really kind of pathetic. And I'm like, you know, I'm not selling products. I'm not campaigning. I'm not telling anybody to do anything. I'm posting my own personal stuff that I created myself on the YouTube, or I'm posting images or answering questions, things like this. And you're telling me I'm spamming. Their bots got me tagged as a spammer for some reason, and it's really ridiculous. But I honestly wonder anyways, is there any point to actually posting on Facebook at all? Does anybody come here from Facebook? Is it going to make a difference one way or the other if I do or don't? Because I think that Facebook has become one of those sites that people don't pay attention to. It's everything rolls too quickly. It moves too fast. People give it a thumbs up and move on. I see Robert is joining us, as well as Raccoon. Glad you could make it. Munin says you're the last person that would spam anything. Did someone just decide to take offense to something you posted? Possibly. And Stuart says, do they understand if people like your post, it's not spam? Yeah, I know. And of all things, too. And I've talked about this before. I'm sure that I was on one of their original panels with Facebook in open discussion on like a video conference, like Skype with Facebook royalty or HR, whoever the hell these people were. I don't even remember. Honestly, this was a few years ago. And there's Frankenfrog when they were originally talking about stickers and all of that other stuff where you get the little icons and bullshit. And I told them at that time, my opinion of it was that the icons were worthless. Nobody cares about that. That the two big problems on Facebook are one, everything moves too quickly and nobody pays attention, which, that's what it is. They give you a little thumbs up, they click the little heart or whatever and move on, and they don't even read the post. They just maybe liked the image out of the corner of their eye or something like that. And the other problem is all the fake advertising, which is still a problem. And I don't mean Facebook Marketplace. I mean the actual ads. Have you ever looked at the ads on Facebook, the actual commercial blocks that you scroll past? Take any one of those ads, write down the name of the company, and then go and Google it. And I bet you that they're in trouble with the Better Business Bureau. Every one of them is a scam. And I'm like, you've been doing that for years and they're still doing it and they've never fixed it. But yeah, you can get stickers. You can get little icons next to your name for being a good little boy and commenting on Facebook posts. But yeah, apparently they think I'm a spammer. And they've been limiting my posts, which has been a pain in the ass. But as I pointed out again, I don't even know if it's even worth it, because I don't think anybody pays attention to anything that's posted on Facebook. Majority of them. I mean, even in my own group, I put a post up. Maybe it'll suggest out of the hundreds of damn near 1,000 people in the group, actually, that maybe 10 people looked at a post, maybe 2 commented. Nobody's paying attention. So I'm like, does anybody actually, if I put a video link, is anyone actually following that link, coming to the channel and watching a video or subscribing or, joining the live stream or anything? I don't think they are. So I've been thinking about cutting back a lot on Facebook and just not wanting to be bothered anymore, especially after they started screwing with me, which they've been doing all month, off and on. I mean, one day it's fine. Next day, oh, well, we're keeping our community safe and we have to limit your posts. And you've reached your limit for the next 72 hours or whatever. And I'm like, what the hell? Seriously, what the hell is this? After all I've done for you, they're bearing a grudge against me for that conference, which was like 4 years ago or something like that I was involved with that. It was paid. They paid me to be part of it. Gave an Amazon gift card. I'll take it. Announcements. So I am still going to be doing the Sears Wish book. I know I've been talking about that, but I haven't had much time. But we're getting there. We may actually, fingers crossed, and prayer is up in the air, if you will. We may get a placement for the father-in-law next week. And that's been very difficult because we've been that close before and then told no at the last second. And they say something to the akin to, well, we can't accept him because of mild agitation, which is a really, really nice way. And I'm not trying to be funny, a really nice way of saying he's too crazy for our facility, because he would have to be in a secure location. And that's where it gets complicated. But we might have a line on something. Munin says it seems like Facebook is a waste of time. And Robert's glad they only use YouTube. And so, yeah, some of them are, Facebook, X, Twitter, whatever. They can be toxic. They can be. some of the people in them can be toxic, especially in the groups. And I've been dumping groups. I'm signed up to groups. I don't even know where the hell they came from on Facebook. And I'm like, nah, I don't want to be in that group. I don't know who these people are. But sharing to the groups doesn't seem to help with the channel anyways. And I'd rather concentrate on the channel and just share with everybody who chooses to join us. But yeah, again, I am planning on doing the Sears Wish book. I'd like to get it up for December. So I got the 1979 Sears Wish book that I want to do. See, look at that. Isn't that a thing of beauty? This is in really nice shape too. Wish book 1979 holiday season. Oh boy. Oh boy. And look at those lovely mustard yellow washer and dryers with a big red bow. Don't you want a lovely, I would prefer these washer and dryers to the modern one. I don't need freaking Bluetooth on my washer and dryer. Just give me a button and a knob and I'm good. But yeah, I'm going to flip through. Oh, look at that. You want that outfit. I will flip through this in an upcoming catalog tour. I've been looking forward to it myself because the Sears Wish book is it's so nostalgic. It's so freaking nostalgic. So that is upcoming. There's my wife's section right there. She loves the old stereo systems. Look at that, a log cabin for your child. Come on now. So I'll be doing that. Tomorrow, I believe, I will be getting up a big holiday special Christmas block, vintage 70s and 80s, forgotten, made for TV cartoon holiday classics with commercials inserted, like about 2.5 hours worth in one big block. And it took hours and hours and hours to get it all formatted. And I got it loaded onto YouTube today, and I'm going to put it up tomorrow. So look forward to that. We'll have another unboxing probably next week. Next week we'll do that again. So as we have a few things, I can give you a sneak peek on the unboxing. I have an update on the cats too, if anybody's interested in the cats. Is anyone interested in hearing about the cats? I don't know how many people are even in here right now. Again, when I do it earlier in the day, I don't get as much traffic as when I used to do it at 7. When my wife and I were doing it together. But hopefully if things work out next week, the next time I do a live stream, she'll be here. I'll give you a sneak peek on the unboxing if you want to see. Yeah, Muna says the cats. Indeed. She got this. As we did watch Jason the Wheeled Warriors. Really interesting concept, interesting cartoon. Carded sets from Mattel. And it's shocking that almost every set that I've ever seen is yellowing, okay, for a Mattel product. That's unusual. I don't know, actually, because it happens to a lot of the Masters of the Universe, too. A lot of them turn yellow on their cards. But the Jason the Wheeled Warriors are notorious for turning yellow. And, of course, if they get really yellow, there's a chance they might break. But she got this just recently. And so this is just like a preview of the upcoming unboxing, because she is trying to collect Jace and the Wheel Warriors, which never did get Series 2. It was in the catalog, I believe, in the Mattel Toy Fair catalog, Series 2, but they never got to it because the figures that come with the human sets are generic soldiers, not cast members from the show. So yeah, this stuff's really hard to come by. Decent condition at all. And Munin wants to see Monkey, but no, you will not see Monkey. And T. Stewart said, not a cat person, but always support your content. So I'm in. I appreciate it. I'll show you a short. This is the short. This short's from the Cat Channel, because that right there is. Let me get that opened all the way up, and I'll start playing it. That right there is the feral mama I was talking about last week. All 4 of her kittens have survived, and she's moved them into my yard. And they go back and forth from that habitat that's on the porch to underneath a shed that's in the backyard. And you see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 bouncy little kittens. And no, nothing happened to Monkey came unit. Monkey's just not in this video. And you see one of them hiding in the habitat, and the other 3 are bouncing around and eating. It's just a really short to demonstrate that they are getting closer and closer. And that's what I had to show there. Here's another one. Hold on a second. This one has Mama in the shot. There's Mama eating with 3 of them, and the same one still hiding in the habitat. And with her 4 kittens officially still being alive, thank goodness, and on the property, that gives me now 17. So I'm up to big numbers again. 17 felines that I am taking care of altogether. Oh my goodness. Talk about expensive hobbies. You think the toys and action figures was expensive. Good night. Good night. Hold on a second. And then there's Granny Smith being a butthole. You all remember Granny Smith, the apple of your eye. That I had just changed out the pad in that toy. They actually like that. Any other scratching post you get, they can't stand it. But the disc on the floor, they like it. And when I change the disc, she'll lay on it and not allow anyone else to use it. And she's been doing that for days. Robert wants to know who the father is of that, of Stranger. I call that cat on the back porch Stranger. No, he doesn't come around, whoever he is. I think I've seen him a couple of times. Big, bushy cat, almost looks like a raccoon, but he doesn't hang out. So, and if he does show up and stick around, it'll be 18. And I'm like, oh my God, give me a break. Give me a break. I don't know what that is. That's the mama sitting on the banister, and it was raining out, and she was waiting for me to come out and put food in the bowl, just sitting there in the rain. And that's how you know she's always been outdoors. That short was taken from before her ear was tipped. Because like I said, some agency, I think it's the local Humane Society, did a sweep and grabbed her and gave her the TNVR service, spayed her and gave her a round of shots and then cut her loose. But they didn't get the kittens. And I'm like, they could have died. They could have died doing that. Robert says maybe she's cheating with one of mine. All of mine have had a TNVR service, so none of them can reproduce. So it's not any of mine. And Robert wants to know, do kitties cheat? Yeah, because most cats are not familial, so they don't pair up necessarily for life. They don't pair up necessarily for life. As we continue on here, I've been doing more rearranging down in the lounge area in the museum room. I'm working on the cathode ray television back there. You can see the VCR light is blinking because I haven't really had a chance to work with it to set it yet. But I got it all hooked up, and I was going to hook up either the Nintendo or the Sega Genesis to it. Okay, but to my demise, the TV is too primitive for them. And there's Pastor Rick. Pastor Rick, did you see the cats just now? it's too primitive to hook up even the Nintendo system, and I need to get a converter to go from RV to AV. Well, that is the 3-prong, which is on the Nintendo and the Sega Genesis, because the cathode ray TV back there, the floor model, does have a coaxial plug-in. So I need coaxial to the 3-pronged, and I've ordered that from Amazon. They're cheap. It's pretty cheap, you know, some old Radio Shack bit and piece. But Robert says, what about the middle TV? What, that one? The one that's directly behind me? Yeah, I can hook up anything to that. But I wanted to put an old system on the old cathode ray, is what I wanted to do. Toy Chic, can you take that blinking light? That's an immediate tick for me. I'm not paying attention to it. But yeah, that's because I had started hooking that stuff up, so the VCR doesn't have hasn't been set yet. The clock on the VCR has not yet been set. And Pastor Rick made a donation to the channel for the kitties. Thank you, Pastor Rick. Much appreciated. I was wondering if you had just seen, because we were showing footage, because I'm back up to 17. I got 17 felines, 17 hungry mouths to feed right now, because the feral mama from last week, apparently all 4 of her kittens did survive her absence when Humane Society grabbed her, and she brought them here. She brought them here. So I'm back up to 17 again. So thank you, Pastor Rick. All the help I can get. Good night. But anyway, and there's Patrick joining us. I ordered the component so that I can hook up, because I'd like to just put an old system on it, either like I said, Nintendo or Sega Genesis, so I can play it on the old cathode ray set, because that TV does work. That TV does work. It's just too primitive. It's not the Nintendo and the Sega are not backwards compatible to it, because it's only coaxial cable enabled and 2-prong. You remember 2-prong? That's how you hooked up the Atari, was with that 2-prong antenna connector in the back. Robert wants to know why not put all systems on it, because it only has a single coaxial cable in the back. And Munin said it's a miracle the kittens didn't get picked off by predators. Indeed, because again, they were left unattended. Because they did that, Mama was gone for like 4 days, and fortunately, she managed to round them all up and bring them back. And again, brought them to my yard and put them under my shed to keep them safe. And let me, I'll put that back up again. See if you didn't see it. Come on now, there we are. And there's feral mama setting them up on my, oh no, she's not in this shot. That's the 4 kittens on the back porch scavenging out of the bowls, or trying to. They're trying to eat it. It's hard food in there, but they're trying. You see them bouncing in and out. I think 3 of them are long hair, or 2 are long hair, 1 is medium, and 1 is short haired. It's weird, but they all look like chinchillas. And that one has Mama in the shot. When she first brought him up. T. Stewart wants to know, how do I leave a donation after the show? Daughter wiped me out last night. I appreciate it, T. Stewart. I'll tell you what, I'll put a banner on here. You see that PayPal banner? It says Coffee Talk, but I am Coffee Talk. Coffee Talk is from Nostalgic Pod Blast, but that is me. So that's our banner. Robert wants to know if there's any pickups. Well, actually, funny you should ask. There are some pickups, but yeah, that's our little babies. and they bring us to 17 now. 17 hungry mouths to feed. And I think it's funny that one peeking, and they all look like they're wearing little masks because there's like a white ring right around their eyes, if you've noticed. There he is, hiding in there. But yeah, pickups, some interesting things. This was a pickup from a flea market. Take a look at that. From Memory Lane. Remember the Memory Lane toy line? Did all of the Rankin Bass. They did like Rudolph and Santa Claus is Coming to Town and stuff. Did these action figures. And this, of course, I'll show you the back. That's Winter. And this was, it has the original Kmart price on it. See? Look at that. Kmart, $9.99. And this was $5 at the flea market. And any of the Memory Lane figures from the Rankin Bass Productions, Santa Claus is Coming to Town and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the two I know of off the top of my head, are incredibly expensive for toys that were made in the 2000s. These things are nuts how expensive they are. It doesn't even make sense. This is good Winter, though, by the way, because there are two. There's an alternate version. See, there's also a bad Winter figure right there with the mean face. And Robert, oh, there's Renard. He said, just got back from work. Looking forward to a fun evening. Robert wants to know, did Rankin Bass do Thundercats? I don't remember. And he likes the sofa. Actually, that is a big comfy chair. Not the comfy chair. Not the comfy chair. The who knows where that's from? That is the gaming chair, ladies and gentlemen. The gaming chair. Munin wants to know, when did Santa come out? $9.99 seems expensive. I believe these were 2004. 2004. But anything Memory Lane pertaining to Rankin Bass characters like this are real expensive. So picking it up for $5 is an absolute steal. I would have paid the original retail price. There it is, Kmart, $9.99. Oh, poor Kmart. Sears is on its last leg too. Sears is about had it. I think one of the candles fell out. It's like floating down there. See it? Because he has candles, and his little crystal ball. It looks like, yeah, that's pretty neat. I wish I could do the whole set, but I'm like, this stuff is way too expensive. Yeah, Munin, it's from 2004. That's why I was saying, for a toy series that was made in the 2000s, because a lot of toy series from the 2000s are not very expensive. Like even the Sideshow 1/6 scale figures from the early 2000s, not valuable at all. They keep going down in price all the time. I planned on, I haven't had time, but I still would like to do a 2000s, early 2000s action figure video, because this is technically vintage now. Remember, vintage is 20 years. Robert wants to know, is Rudolph part of the collection? They did Rudolph, but it's not part of Santa Claus is Coming to Town. It's from their Rudolph at the Red-Nosed Reindeer line, because they did more than one series. But that, that was a great pickup, and it's the only one like this I have. And I never had a set of these, from the old collection. I never had a set of these, but I'm like, oh, it'd be great if I could finish it. I don't know. Whew, I'd have to really luck up like this, because Yeah, again, they're notoriously expensive. It just doesn't even make any sense. Well, I suppose it does. I mean, it's so classic. Action figures were never made from that line. Action figures were never made from that series back in the day. And vintage Rudolph merchandise, if it's legitimate vintage Rudolph, 50s, 60s, a lot of that stuff is pretty freaking expensive. A lot of that stuff is pretty freaking expensive. Another interesting pickup that I got, let me see if I got this over here. Another interesting pickup, and I don't know if you've ever seen anything like this. I found this at Savers. Look at that. I got to watch out because of camera positioning. You ever seen this before? Do you know what this is? Made in the USA. Ingrid products. I knew what it was, and I took it apart to make sure it's complete because this is heavy, and everything is in here. Robert wants to know what happened to the Bible figures. Yeah, she did get them. I think we showed them in an unboxing. They did finally ship the Bible figures. You mean the ones for Big Bad Toy Store? They finally got around to it. Raccoon says, is it a popcorn maker? No, no, it is not. But it does have that spherical design that was very popular in the 60s and 70s because they had, especially in the 60s, and the spherical design comes from the fascination with the space race and the Apollo missions and all that. And they had a TV. I think RCA, was it RCA that did it or Panasonic? I don't remember. They had a round TV set that looked like a helmet. There was space helmet lampshades. Yeah, I mean, it was a lamp, but it was actually cut out and it looked like a helmet inside. They had 8-track players that were round, and they had this. And I'm going to open it up here because this strap comes right off. See? And then you take off the dome. There's a big bowl, right? And inside is a picnic set. And it's complete, and it doesn't look like it's really been used. See, 6 of everything. You get these little plastic tumblers. Again, Ingrid Industries. There it is. Ingrid Industries. Made in Chicago, Illinois. Right? And then there's this tray. So you get a serving tray for your cups. And then set of dishes. And yeah, it's 6. It's always 6. And everything was here. That's why I went ahead and picked it up because it was like $7. And smaller plates. Oh, there's the last one. So a medium-sized plate, and then a smaller semi bowl. It's not a very deep bowl, but the whole thing's in here. So, and you stack them like that. And then the tray goes on the top. And then it goes down in the sphere. So now you have your second bowl. Goes down in the sphere. And then you put the strap on and you can carry your little picnic kit. And I know it's a silly thing, right? Isn't this silly? But I was like, you know what? It does fit. It does fit with some of the themes, especially since the exterior of the bowl is red and white. Because what else is red and white? Well, hold on a second. My 50s dinette set. And I could set the picnic set right down on the floor under the table. And it matches. You see my yellow submarine, vintage yellow submarine lava lamp there in the corner. And then there's my little Santa display, even though the Easter Bunny is sitting in there, but Santa will tolerate the Easter Bunny. It's cool. Right by the fireplace. And I was like, yeah, for $7, I'll take that. You know, I think that's pretty cool. I won't use it, obviously. I don't see myself using it. You know, I just have it for the aesthetics because it looks cool and I think it fits. You know, and I'll put it all back together here. The strap, it has these little buckles that go into a slot on either side, and 1 and 2, and you snap it into place, and then there it is. And Renard wants to know about favorite Christmas music albums. I'm not really a big fan of Christmas music, to be honest. I'm not really a big fan. So favorite Christmas music albums, I don't know if I could name one because I don't think about it in those terms. But yeah, I'm not huge on Christmas music. Honestly, during the holiday season, it almost feels like it's being forced on me. And I'm just like, gross. You know, just give me a freaking break. Oh, and Anne, thank you very much. Sent a or T Stewart there, right? T Stewart, is that you? Somebody sent a donation to the PayPal. I just got a little notice. So who was that? Raccoon, or was that, because I know Raccoon, your name is Ann, right? Well, somebody did, and I appreciate it. Just go ahead and tell me on the thing there. Munin says it's actually pretty practical. You don't have to carry around a bunch of picnic crap. Yeah. But yeah, I've never really been. Oh, okay, Raccoon said it. Thank you. I thought like I saw the name Ann. I know someone else. I know T Stewart asked, but I saw the name Ann and I was like, is that Raccoon? So my memory's not completely gone. I try. Raccoon says a Big Bad Toy Store ad just popped up. I was mentioning that the other day because I did a short talking about bottoming out. Okay. About YouTube, not YouTube, excuse me. I don't know where I got that from. Talking about Hasbro bottoming out, right? Because the Goodwill near us has boxes and boxes and boxes of Dungeons and Dragons figures. And I put up a short at that time. I'm gonna cue that short up and I'll show it to you. Because I was pointing out that they're in the toy department for $2 a piece. Okay, and I'm gonna pull that short up and share it. And I think it's hilarious. And the reason I think it's hilarious is because on that short, and here it is a product placement moniker for Hasbro and Dungeons and Dragons action figures. And I'm insulting the figures in the short. But they put an ad on it. That's how smart YouTube is. Look.
Rock bottom. There's tons of these at the Goodwill. $2.09. It's Hank from Dungeons and Dragons. So much for this line for Hasbro, huh? There's more of them too.
But there's actually an ad on that short for that exact same figure because their AI identified it but doesn't realize what the short's about. Mutant says Funko's bottomed out. Hasbro's going the same way as a safe bet. Not necessarily. Keeping in mind, Hasbro is a legitimate stock and Funko is a junk stock. Funko is worth around $3 a share. Hasbro, I want to say, is probably in the realm of around 75, which is actually really good. Oh, better than that. Hold on a second. Let me show you here. Since I brought it up, it's Christmas after all. So yeah, the stock has gone up. Let me show you what I'm talking about. 82.60 currently. That's healthy. That's very healthy for a stock. So Hasbro's not going anywhere. Also keep in mind that Hasbro is tied into a lot of those card games. So yeah, it'll be a long time before Hasbro falls apart. And then you on the side here, there's Mattel. You see the one that's red and pointed down? Mattel over there on the right. Maybe I can get that to pop. All right, I'll open up the Mattel one just for contrast to show you what I'm talking about, since we're going to go that direction real quick. This is Mattel's current stock at $21.12, which is up again because it is the holiday after all. Usually I think they hover around 17. So if anybody goes out first, it'll be Mattel. Yeah, they're not doing well at all. They haven't been for a long, long time. Robert says they heard Hasbro doesn't want to do toys anymore. They're just kind of stuck there. There could be some truth to that. There could be some truth to that. I mean, they're hinged into the adult market. They make a few staple items for the mainstream, but they concentrate more on electronic stuff and cards. They make a ton on cards. You might recall the video that we did a couple of years back where they take it so seriously. They sent Pinkerton's private security after someone who got a case early to retrieve the cards. It's crazy. But yeah, Mattel stock's never been good. And then let me see. Here's Funko. Currently at $3.16, up because it is Christmas. You see the small jump there, but they've been hovering around $3 all year. There's Jack's Pacific. You know Jack's Pacific. $16.43. Just for contrast, again, talking about Mattel, Hasbro stock actually being pretty good. You notice right there, Peloton is on there as a junk stock, $6.79 for Peloton. Oh, Munin, you got to go? All right, well, glad you could pop in. Robert says He-Man's the only thing keeping Mattel up. He-Man and Barbie, but it's mostly adults buying it. It's kids aren't buying that stuff. Bernard remembers when Mattel was the Cadillac of toys. Indeed, the Cadillac of toys. Toy Chic wants to know if Mondo separate or included in Funko stock. It falls under the. It should fall under the Funko umbrella because Mondo was never publicly traded in the first place. I don't think. I'm pretty sure they were never publicly traded. Robert asked about ramen toys. I don't know that they have one. They might not because they counterfeit stuff. No, they are not publicly traded. Like I said, I didn't think they would be because they do make basically counterfeits. It's for all intents and purposes. The Marshall instead of Brave Star, they're counterfeiting an action figure and getting away with it because they're in Asia. But yeah, and then Just Jeff said ramen toys privately owned. Yeah, I'm not trying to knock them. You know, they have fairly decent product, and they are getting into licensing now because they do have official licensing for Gatchaman that they're working on. But yeah, they're making figures that are supposed to be like other figures, but they're not really. It's technically bootlegging. But they do make some really interesting stuff. Just Jeff said Ace is a great guy. What Ace? Ace Allgood? Or which Ace are you talking about? the first thing I think of is Ace Allgood, who has one of the best 60s and 70s G.I. Joe collections in the country. Oh, okay. Just Jeff says Ace, who owns Ramen Toys. Okay. Yeah, they know who we are because they talked to us at the, what was it? It was the Joe Lanta. They recognized us at the ramen table. But which is surprising. I'm always shocked when people know who we are, especially when it's like again, Ramen Toys knew who we were. The woman from Gem knew who we were, the voice actor from Gem. And who was the other one? Big Bad Toy Store. The people at that booth knew who we were. And I'm like, golly. Just Jeff said he's a big fan of the stuff he's making. He can't get a foothold, so he makes his own with whiskey and blackjack. I totally feel you. That's how Super 7 got started. So like I said, I can't knock them. If they're putting out a good product, go for it. Why not? Everyone else does. But yeah, that's how Super 7 got started. Although I question Super 7 sometimes now because it seems like they've gotten really commercial. They've gotten really commercial. And that happens when these companies start getting really big. Happened to Mezco, where you wonder sometimes if they're losing, not making accusations, but you wonder sometimes if they're losing sight of where they started. You know what I mean? Just Jeff said the Racer and the 18 van were expensive, but they are worth it. Yeah, Big Bad Toy Store knew who we were. I tried to introduce myself and give him a card, and he was like, yeah, open by chance. We know you guys. And I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know if Super 7 has stock. I think that might be privately owned too. I mentioned it last week, and I wanted to show you. I think it was last week, wasn't it? Talking about Captain Crunch and the figurines from Captain Crunch cereal, because these are the original two. Okay, these are in real nice shape. Usually the paint's all rubbed off. That's the Captain and the Sog Master, little 2-inch figures. And these were cereal prizes. Remember when cereal prizes were cool and it wasn't like a all right. Is ever a little mishap? A little mishap as we get back into the groove. Raccoon said they got a black. Yeah, I think it's going to be here. That was actually, it's not my fault because I've got the tower sitting right next to me for the desktop. and it's still lagging just a little bit as it catches up. But the button sticks a little bit on the tower, and my knee hit it. My knee hit it. So hopefully I'm back up here. As soon as I shut cloud off, it should stop lagging. Restarts, I always shut that off because it causes so much lag in everybody's system. There we go. Is that better? See, now I shut cloud off, and now everything copacetic. And I was just talking about Captain Crunch. That's CAP apostrophe and Captain Crunch. And there's Captain. Get in focus. There we are, Captain. That's as big as you'll ever see him right there. Hi. Oh, I guess that's as close as we're going to get. So these are the ones that were available in the cereal. Was the Captain and the Sog Master. And these were cereal prizes, if I remember, in 1985. Okay. And so you got either the Captain, or it says 1988 on his back, right? Okay, so 1988. I thought 1985, it's 88. But on that same cereal box, and I was explaining this last week, on that same exact cereal box was an ad for the board game, Captain Crunch board game, that you could order through the mail. Okay. Yeah, and Toy Chic was saying they bought so many of them trying to get an absolute perfect Captain, and it's still very hard to get mint. Yeah, it's very, very difficult. This is about the best one I've seen that I've got right here, because they're usually, the paint is all scratched off. But to get the board game, if you got the board game, was the only way to get the Soggies. And these are the two Soggies, because there was 4 pieces. So you had to buy the board game to get these, because a lot of people think these came in the cereal, and to the best of my knowledge, they did not. And they do glow in the dark. Hold on a second. Got a little light on my thing here, right? Watch this. See, they do glow in the dark. But the board game was the only way to get them. SOG 1 and SOG 2. This one's got like a baseball cap on. And those are hard to find too, with the paint app still intact. And even he's a little scuffed on his eyebrows, but not bad. Not too bad. One of those classic forgotten board games. But I wanted to show those. Yeah, the robot one, that's the one you're talking about, Frankenfrog. That's Sog Master. And the Soggies are his little minions. And they, it was a little gimmick they had in the 80s where the Sog Master and the Soggies, because he has like this arm that's like a hose that's ruins people's cereal by making it mush. And of course, Captain Crunch saves the day because Captain Crunch stays crunchy in milk. Stays crunchy in milk. And Robert wants to know if I have the board game. I do not have the board game. I am on the lookout for one, though, if I can find one cheap that's never been opened. I want a sealed one. I don't like getting board games too much. I love the board games. I really do. But they take up a lot of space. Board games take up a ton of space. And you can't display them. And I've seen people, a lot of collectors, they get into it because the artwork on the board games, many of them, the artwork's fantastic. It looks great. And you're like, oh, looks so cool. And I want to display it, and I want to know. You get 20 board games, you're not displaying shit. There's nowhere to put them. You'll end up with them stacked floor to ceiling in the closet, and you'll just see the edges, and all stacked on top of each other. They'll start crushing each other too. It's just the same thing with frame tray puzzles. Or not frame tray, but regular puzzles. Great artwork, or frame trays too, I guess. Great artwork, but where do you put them all? Where do you put them all? Yeah, Toy Chic, they're not too expensive, the board games. Most aren't. Most vintage board games, there are some that are quite valuable. But most vintage board games, you can pick them up cheap, or if you only care about the aesthetics of the artwork on the cover of the box. If it's a decent box and it's incomplete, you can suck it up. That's how most people look at it. But yeah, where do you put them after a while? You get nowhere to display it. That's the problem, because I've thought about that before, and there's times where like certain things like, oh, I'd love to get this board game or that board game. When I was a kid, I had the Mad Magazine board game. I found it somewhere, actually. And it'd be nice to have it again. Weird artwork, it's fun, but where would I display it? I have a hard enough time with the stuff I've got on display in the toy room now without trying to present board games everywhere. I wouldn't be able to fit them in. It's you gotta limit yourself somewhere, and I think that's probably why a lot of board games don't sell very well, unless they're just really rare. If they're really rare, there are board games out there that go for a fortune. Bernard wants to know if Milton Bradley still makes board games. I believe they do, but the aisle is reduced so drastically. If you go to the aisle where board games are, there's nothing there anymore. It's board games and puzzles and all that kind of stuff, arts and crafts projects, where it used to take up several aisles in a toy store, or even a toy department in a department store, is reduced to like an aisle now, even during Christmas. Not even that much. It's like a section on the back wall in Target or something like that. But yeah, that is, kids don't do that anymore. They want to play with devices. They want to push buttons all day. And they don't interact like that. We have board games that we play. My wife and I, we've got Scrabble and stuff like that. And, we do that with each other together. But, we're old school. For a young person to be interested in something like that, they would have to grow up in it in their family. Yeah, Toy Chic says some vintage are nice for display to accentuate a collection, but you have to be selective. Yeah, otherwise you'll get overwhelmed. It's just like with Funko Pops. You're like, oh, they're so small. They don't take up much space. Next thing you know, you get 300 of them. And you're just like, what do I do? I got to start turning them sideways. Or Star Wars Black Series. You see people's collections. I see them on YouTube all the time. They got 300 Star Wars Black Series. All the boxes are sideways. They can't display the figures anymore. Oh my God. I've been thinking about doing a video on toy franchises that are just totally played out, that I get worn out even looking at. And by the way, Toy Chic has a channel where he does unboxings and things like that. If you're not familiar with Toy Chic, you might want to check him out. It's not so bad with lunchboxes. Lunchboxes can get expensive though. Lunchboxes can be very expensive. A lot of them, especially considering condition. Condition's got to be perfect. Okay, it's got to be perfect. And they can get big money, crazy money. Most lunchboxes are beat up pretty bad, or written all over, or rusty. But you can display those fairly easily enough. Box thermos. They don't take up too much space. T. Stewart wants to know if I collect vintage wrestling figures. My wife has a bunch. I have a handful of loose LJNs somewhere, including the one that Toy Chic gave us. He gave us his original Macho Man, that when we get everything put back together, we'll go in the Macho Man display with the other Macho Man stuff that we already have. But yeah. And there is, oh, you're Red Rum now. Is your name changed? I recognize the Doink little moniker there. stone sour, but it says red rum. Did you change your name? But yeah, I don't have a lot of vintage wrestling figures. If I did, I would probably go all overboard with wanting. If I dug deep in it, I'd want carded stuff, and that's just out of the question. That's just out of the question. But yeah, we're thinking about doing a video dedicated to talking about, since we do the weekly roundup pretty much religiously on Fridays, that we wanted to talk about toy lines that we think they just need to put it down. They just need to put it to bed for a while. It's been going on for too long. Just stop. Just stop making these. Give it a rest. I think that would make for an interesting topic of discussion. Absolutely. And while I'm on the subject of lunchboxes, I had this I wanted to share. Have you ever seen this before? I'm gonna show you a rare treasure. A rare treasure, all the way from 1973. Look at this. This is a lunchbox. It's a toy lunchbox, Fisher-Price toy lunch kit. And it's like a quarter scale lunchbox with thermos with the little, and it's basically a little barn. Okay. And I actually, you see the little children having fun with their little lunchbox with no food in it. What do you think of dude's pants? Would you wear those pants? This is again from 1973. The dead giveaway that this is 70s, of course, Fisher-Price is the light blue packaging. Because 80s Fisher-Price, the packaging would be identical, but it would be dark blue with red, not light. I had this lunchbox, but I did not have the thermos. I don't know where it came from. I just remember having it. And so when I was older, I sought it out. You see, this is even pre-barcode, early 70s. So I went and found it again, and I managed to find one that was still sealed, even though, and it came shrink wrapped like this. Wrinkled up a little bit, but not easy to find sealed, even though it's not terribly expensive. I like that it is sealed. One of my little prize lunch boxes, because I do remember this from childhood. Having this box. Although it would have been nice if I had the thermos too, but what are you going to come on? Yeah, I didn't do it that time. I didn't do it that time. That was an internet connection error that I got a prompt for. So hopefully you can see me again. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The more they upgrade this technology, the worse it gets. And I was just about to ask. This happened a couple of weeks ago, you might remember. I got kicked off a couple of times and couldn't get back in at all. Robert was talking about Andre the Giant hating Macho Man. Andre the Giant didn't like a lot of people, and he was not easy to get along with for all the stories about Andre. He didn't seem like a very good guy, but whatever. I didn't know him personally. And the artist formerly known as Jesse Say What is here. And who is this? Alec Tuttles? It says 2 of my medicine cabinets are full of 1/18th G.I. Joe and Marvel characters fighting Cobra. Interesting. So you did that for like a diorama? And Stone Sour. Oh, you changed it back to Stone Sour. It said Red Rum. Now it says Stone Sour, unless that's different. Gave us a donation for the Feline Fund. Much appreciated. Very much appreciated. Again, I am up to, I mentioned it earlier, 17 now. 17 felines I'm up to. 17. Because Feral Mama moved into my backyard and deposited 4 kittens there. And I'll show that one more time because I've got a short for that. So yeah, well, she brought them into my yard. She had already given birth somewhere else and transplanted them in my yard. So that makes 17 felines that we are currently taking care of. And there she is. I get that expanded with her 4 babies, one of hiding inside that habitat on the porch. Mostly they're living underneath a shed in the backyard, but she does bring them up on the porch in the morning and they get into the little habitat and play around, and that one is hiding. So that's Mama with 4 little kitties, 4 little fur balls. Robert wants to know about the poster. Is that the Joker? In the background there? Yes, it is. I think that's a Mondo silk poster, actually. That one belongs to Trinessa. That belongs to my wife. Alex says, my name is usually Delroy Lindo's Wretched Dag Nabbits. I have no idea why it's been changed back to my original name. Yeah, YouTube has been doing that. Facebook has altered everybody's name for some reason. So if you look at your @% in the message board, a lot of you will notice there are changes. If you had not gone in and done an alteration yourself, like on this channel, it is @open by chance because I made sure it was. But for whatever reason, ScrewTube messed with everybody's monikers. And Stone Sour made an additional donation for the Kitty Food Fund. Thank you. Said ScrewTube changed our names. Yes, they did. They altered a lot of people's names. So you got to be leery of that. If you're watching, check your moniker and see what your @% is, because it could be something weird, or they might have added numbers to you. Yeah, Robert online says they put numbers on the end of my name. I just wanted my name. Yeah, there is a way to go in and fix that. I can't explain it. But if you go to your page and you click your name, you can petition to change it, and they'll give you options. I was just lucky enough that I got open by chance locked in, and it's not all weird on me. But yeah, thank you, Stone Sour. Thank you, Raccoon Eyes, and thank you also, Pastor Rick, if you're still in here, for making donations to the channel today to help us with that. Because yeah, it is expensive. It's an expensive hobby, as it were, on top of everything else. I love taking care of the felines, though. They need somebody. They need somebody. It may as well be me, and they seem to keep finding me. They seem to keep finding me, but I thought I was getting better. I was down to 12. And suddenly I end up with Stranger, which was the mama that made 13. And then she had 4 kittens and that made 17. And I'm like, ah, hell. But hey, I'll take care of them. I love them anyways. Tuck wants to know about his name. It says Tuck by V1. Tuck by V1. Yeah. So yours is how it should be. At Tuck by V1 is correct. But a lot of Robert wants to know if someone else took my name and worded it differently. If they worded it differently, YouTube would let them get away with it. So they would. If they wrote it some other way, a misspelling, YouTube would let them get away with it. But fortunately, I am the original and only currently open by chance. I don't think there's a counterfeit one out there. I hope not. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Again, tomorrow, upcoming. Tomorrow, I'm putting up a 2.5-hour vintage cartoon classic Christmas special, made for TV Christmas special block. Weird stuff you probably never saw, with commercials inserted. 70s and 80s commercials should be throughout. It's about 2 hours and 26 minutes or something like that. It's almost 2.5 hours. That should be going up tomorrow. And I am still planning on doing the Sears 1979 Christmas Wish Book. So I had planned on doing that. I still plan on doing it. I'm actually looking forward to it myself, but it's so big I'll have to do it as a live. I did the 1983 Sears Wish Book a couple of years ago. It's already up on the channel. And I did that as a straight filming. And even that's like 1.5 hours. And I rushed it. And so we'll see. I'm still planning on doing that also. There will be an unboxing video coming up probably next week. And that was a preview to it. This was my wife's. This was LPH's, the Wheeled Warriors set that she already went ahead and opened. Because why not? So that's some videos to look forward to. I'm going to try to get more holiday stuff up. I tried to load because I have the BC Thanksgiving Day special up on this channel, which many of you have probably seen, the BC Thanksgiving Day special. I also did the BC Christmas special, but they took it down. I tried to put it back up and it gave me a hard time. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that up on the channel or not, which I worked on that hard because, when I put up these old specials, I find all the ad breaks because there is a cue for the ad break in the old shows. So when a commercial block is supposed to go in. So you got to find all those cues, split it evenly so that you don't accidentally crop the show. Find appropriate ads, put them back in, and then splice it all together. And then you get your half-hour or your hour show. And Greg says, would love to see the catalog. Yeah, it's coming up. I'm going to be doing that maybe next week. I don't want to make a promise I can't keep, but maybe next week. Yeah, Sears Wish Book 1979. Fantastic stuff in here. Just flipping through, and I'm like, wow. It's just to go back in time. A lot of memories in all of this. Oh, even even just flipping through, like right here. Look at this. Who remembers slot racers? Do they even make these anymore? Do they even make slot car race sets anymore? Didn't you? I never had anything like this. I would have loved to have a set like that as a kid. Can you imagine? Oh my God, look at this. Yeah, see, I need to not look through here. Big wheel, anyone? Who wants the Big Panther big wheel by Marx? Oh my God. What fun, you know. And I won't certain things I'll just kind of breeze through. Like we don't need to spend too much time on leisure suits. But you get the idea. It'll be a blast, I think. It'll be a blast. JM says they had the green machine. Yeah, and it had the brakes, right? Is that the one where it had the two handbrakes on the side? Am I thinking of the correct one? And Stone Sour is looking forward to the Sears book. Oh, and Johnny is here. He says he's at an antique store. He'll have to catch the replay. Now, watch out for those prices in those antique store. You'll be seeing a lot of blow molds showing up in the antique stores around Christmas time. And boy, they are expensive. And JM says, I'm thinking of the correct one. I have if you go to my playlists, I have a playlist of vintage toy commercials. And one of those commercial blocks is a bunch of Marx's vintage big wheel commercials. Great stuff. Great stuff. Raccoon says they have a co-worker who worked for Sears warehouse in Philly, and the union was run by mob boss Nicky Scarfo. JM says we wore down the tires fast because it was blow mold. The tires were blow molds. It was the big wheel. For as cool as it looked and as fun of a toy as it was, and as classic of a toy as it was, the construction was a piece of shit. It was all blow mold parts. So yeah, you beat the hell out of it fast. Robert wants to know how many blow molds I have. I only have 4. I only have 4 currently. I've got, is that plugged in? Hold on a second. I've got the 2 Union Plastics pumpkins, and these are the ones that light up. I do not have the lights in there. I'm ordering lights. They make replacement lights for these that are pretty cheap. So these are Union Plastics 1970s blow mold pumpkin twins. So I've got those. I don't have a lot. I've got the rabbit that's over by Santa. And then I've got the owl lantern that I picked up at a yard sale. And this thing is actually surprisingly expensive. And has the original cord, and it does work. And he's still got really good color. And this thing is bright. This thing lights up so nice. Lights up so nice. And then, like I said, I do have the half-sized rabbit. The half-sized rabbit that is over next to Santa Claus there, sitting in the corner. So no, I don't have a ton of blow molds, vintage ones. I know they're making them again, but no, the new ones are expensive too. See, that's a 3-foot tall. I've talked about him before because I found him at a flea market. That's a 3-foot vintage store display Santa. And he's got a couple of those, like really cheap 70s, like Woolworth stockings hanging off his wrist. And then a couple of other Santas down there, vintage Santas. But you might remember those stockings. Those were the ones that, like, people who they felt like they had to get you a gift, but they didn't know what to get, and they were on their way. I had a box full of these. I gave away a bunch of them a couple of years ago. These, remember? So like a little plastic wire basket with fabric on the back, and it's got some really cheap shit toys in there. Like a little finger prison and a little whistle and some garbage. And you'd get them at Woolworths for like 49 cents. Here you go, kid. Thanks for nothing. Tuck remembers those. Oh no. Stone Sour said his mother said no getting a big wheel after a kid got run over in one. Oh, please. I never had one. I never had a big wheel. But I remember kids having them when I was growing up, and they just seemed like the coolest thing. They seemed like the coolest thing. Robert wants to know if I have plans for Christmas. No, I do not. Not really. No, no plans right now. The wife and I, we're not thinking that far ahead. We're not thinking that far ahead. We don't get that deep into the holiday anyways, but no specific plans for Christmas, at least not currently. I don't know if it would do to have a Christmas live stream. I don't know if anyone would even be around, because we've done a few holiday live streams in the past. We have done that, but I don't know if it would even be plausible to do it. Did we do a Christmas one before? I think we did a New Year's. We did a New Year's one. Stone Sour said at Christmas stream, and Robert said he would watch. I don't know. I'll ask. We'll see. We'll see. And I gotta get her to make eggnog. She makes fantastic eggnog. You know, my wife does like to bake and do stuff like that. She's kitchen savvy, and she has a really good eggnog that she does. Non-alcoholic, of course, because neither of us drink. T. Stewart says, you are clearly a historical pop culture curator. You surpassed toy collector when you saved that jukebox and started record collecting. Yeah, it's more. I mean, I say toys, but that ties in because we are very much into nostalgia and pop culture. It's more of a nostalgia / pop culture channel, but that encompasses, of course, vintage toys, vintage action figures, vintage magazines, comic books, vinyl records, hell, even CDs. As you see, like I talked about it earlier, putting up vintage commercials and holiday specials if I can do it, because a lot of stuff is prohibited. One of the problems I had with the Alf Christmas special, I had that up before. I had done the same thing. I broke out the ad blocks and put vintage 80s commercials in to the Alf Christmas special to get it to exactly 1 hour, just like if it had originally aired. And the Alf Christmas special is a really, really good Christmas special, a forgotten one that's truly underrated because it's better than the show. The show is, you know, if you watch it, it's fun at first, but it starts to wear on you. It gets frustrating, actually, to watch Alf. I can see why it failed after 5 seasons. But the Christmas special doesn't feel like Alf. It's really well written and banned in a lot of countries. And I had all kinds of problems when I put it up. All kinds of problems. And I got in trouble for, I think, 10 seconds of piano music in one scene and just all kinds of BS with, it's just the way ScrewTube operates. It's just the way ScrewTube operates, unfortunately. They make everything so difficult now. With all the algorithms and bots and everything and trying to second guess you and do whatever. It was frustrating. Tuck said he was crazy about Alf when he was a kid, can't say why. Well, it's very adolescent. And Master Payne says he never knew what a jerk Alf was until they watched a few episodes as an adult. Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. Because he is awful and he ruined those people's lives. He ruined their lives. He had them into a second mortgage on their home because of the damage that he did to their house over the 5 seasons, and because of how much he ate and how much things he broke. He cost the Tanners a fortune. The Tanner family, I believe, was the name of the family, right? And then left. He didn't actually leave. He got ditched. He was supposed to get picked up. Somebody was traveling by, a fellow Melmacian was supposed to pick him up, but then the army caught him. And so the final episode left you with him being surrounded by soldiers because they finally got him. But yeah, he was such a bastard to everybody. And he never, I think that my wife says it best because she was like, the real problem is he doesn't progress. He doesn't learn from any of his mistakes. He continues to make the exact same mistakes over and over and over and over. The only redeeming quality Alf has is that he does not lie. He always is honest, but that's about it. Otherwise, he's a nightmare to live with. He was a nightmare. And it's like I said, we rewatched that whole series a couple of years ago, 1 episode a week, because that's how we do it. We watch our vintage television also. We don't really watch modern shows. And that's how we do it. 1 episode. Right now, 1 episode of Miami Vice, 1 episode of Nero Wolf. The original Nero Wolf is a great series. 1 episode of Stingray. Stingray is fun. 1 episode of Dallas, like that. We don't binge watch anything. Robert wants to know if I'd keep Alf with all the cats. No. Well, yeah, actually, because he promised not to eat cats on the show, and he did not, even though he joked around about it a lot. He said he wouldn't, so he didn't. He kept his word. It was like I said, if nothing else, Alf is honest, but he's just a nightmare to live with. The amount he eats and the amount of things he busts up and the fires and all the other damage. Stone Sour say coworkers can't stop talking about Stranger Things and it's annoying. I've never seen it. I think my wife and I watched like half of the first episode. We haven't really watched it. I don't know if I want to. People say it's good, but it feels like fan service instead of a truly nostalgic show. That's the sense I get. I could be wrong, but I don't want fan service. That's what I heard about Ghostbusters Afterlife, because that came up. I never saw Ghostbusters Afterlife either, but they were like, yeah, it was okay for what it was. It had a lot of fan service though, and I'm like, I don't want fan service. I don't want fan service. Fan service is when you're watching Avengers Endgame and Captain America picks up the hammer. That's fan service. They did it because you expected it. See what I'm saying? And they can do nostalgia that way too. And I think that's what Stranger Things is. But like I said, I haven't seen it myself. I don't even remember what we watched. I just know we watched like half of the first episode. Yeah, that's exactly the problem though, Robert. He says Ghostbusters Afterlife was okay. Yeah, that's the problem. It's okay. But would you watch it again? Could you watch it 10 times? And that's always my my whole thing with movies, television, music, any of it. I don't have a scale. There's yes or no, 0 or 1, on or off. Could I watch it again? If the answer is yes, it was good. If the answer is no, then it wasn't. And there's a lot of stuff I just wouldn't bother to watch again. Avengers Endgame included. I didn't think it was that good. Of all the Marvel films leading up to it, I think they dropped the ball with it. I didn't care for it. Lord of the Rings, could I watch the original trilogy again? Yes. Hobbit? No. They blew it with the Hobbit series. And Deke Radio is joining us from Smyrna. Raccoon tried to watch Stranger Things, got halfway through and turned it off. I don't get the appeal. They agree the forced comedy in the Marvel movies is just lazy writing. But yeah, that's my criteria with all TV, movie, any kind of media. Is it good? That means I can watch it again. If it's not, that means I don't care. If I don't care, then what's the point? It's really that simple. Could I watch The Shining again? Yes. Could I watch Commando again with Arnold Schwarzenegger? Movie's completely goofy, but yeah, it was fun. I could watch that again. You see my point. You see my point. That's, to me, that's the have all and tell all. If you could do it again, like we're watching Miami Vice again, great show. Alf, I don't care if I never see it again. Except the Christmas special. The Christmas special was an entirely different animal. It doesn't feel, actually, no, the first 5 minutes of it feels like Alf. He's being a total bastard. And then he runs away because he's a little prick, and he does stuff like that, and ends up in a hospital, or actually rather a hospice for terminally ill children. And then the whole show takes a twist that you don't expect. And it's like, wow, this is actually really well written. Really well written. So that I have to recommend the Alf special, but not the show. But yeah, that's what it kills me. I see all these people, oh, Rotten Tomatoes, and oh, something gets 10 popcorn bags, and a 5 out of 10, and 86% out of 100. No, it's either good or it's not. Okay, it's either good or it's not. And tastes may differ. I may not like something that you think is fantastic, and that's fine. If you like it, you like it. I can't take that from you. I don't want to. You enjoy whatever you're going to enjoy. Master says, Commando's hilarious when you notice the hydraulic catapults launch the enemies into the air. Yeah, with the when he throws the grenades, and they've got the they stand on the boards, the flip up boards. Yeah, they're like on springboards that they release the catch on. Tuck says, don't say that. They'll reboot Miami Vice like Hawaii Five-0 and Magnum PI. They already tried, because there is a Miami Vice movie that came out like about 15 years ago with Jamie Foxx. But so they did attempt it in cinema. And I don't care if I never see that film again, because I did see it and I didn't think it was that great. But I do love the show. The show was really fantastic, especially for the time. Especially for the time, it was amazing. The details that went into it, and especially the music. And I love that the box set, because we don't stream a lot of the stuff. We own the discs, and I got the box set actually from Walmart. And the new box set has all the original music in it. And that's always a problem with a lot of these shows, that the original music has been removed, and then there's a big squabble over it. Like the WKRP did not have the original music, and they had to renegotiate to get the music back in. And Rich from Yonkers is here, although he's Boxer Pitt again. He's Boxer Pitt again. Because again, and we talked about that earlier, and we talked about it last week. YouTube is messing around with people's @ monikers again, so that their names are almost unrecognizable in some instances. Almost unrecognizable. And hopes we had a great Thanksgiving. We didn't really do much, Rich. We really didn't do much. We just stayed here. We didn't go anywhere. We didn't make a massive meal or anything. My wife did cook, because she likes to cook anyway. And we're still taking care of the father, her father. So the father-in-law is still here. And again, this is today, week 16. Week 16, so 4 months official. And we're still working on cementing a placement for him because he does need 24/7 care. It's been very hard on us. And also, again, a reminder, we are now up to 17 felines, 17 cats. Mama cat found all of her, when the Humane Society dumped her back in the woods, she found her missing kittens and brought them here. Which is fine. I don't mind taking care of them. But I had it down to 12 when we moved. I had it down to 12. And now I'm up to 17 again. I'm like, oh no. Every cat finds me. They look for me. I think other cats hand out cards and say, yeah, find David's house. He'll take care of you. I think that's what happens. But anyways, it's okay. Tuck wants to know if I have the same P.O. box. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I can post it again. I'll post it up here again here in a second so that you can see it. But yes, I have I do have the same P.O. box. We only ever changed it once, but I'll throw it on there really quick so that you can see. That'll help out a little bit. But yeah, 17 felines, and that's okay. That's okay. Because who else going to take care of them? Otherwise, they'll just be lost in the woods. Hold on a second. I'll put it on the screen. There it is. See how it says at open by chance? Yeah, because I'm on it. I'm on it. I made sure. It wasn't easy. Wasn't easy. And Rich says, wait, the Humane Society dumped the mama cat. Yeah, I explained that earlier. Let me put that back up. Rich, just to run it over, I talked about it a little bit earlier. I talked about it a little bit last week because the Humane Society did a sweep in the area looking for strays. And the way they identify a stray is their ear isn't tipped already, right? Because they cut the top of one ear off. And that's why you see a lot of ears where it looks like someone bit their ear. No, the Humane Society did that. So they did a sweep because I asked the neighbor if they did this, and they were like, no, we don't have very many neighbors. They were like, no, I know about the cats. No, I didn't touch any cats. But because Feral Mama, I call her Stranger, she had been coming around. Actually, Hobo and Dad found her and brought her here. She followed them here. And she was eating, and I was like, oh, that cat looks like she's pregnant. And then she was gone for a couple of days and came back, and I was like, oh, she probably dropped a litter because I think she was pregnant. Then she disappeared for 4 days. And I'm like, what the hell happened to her? Then after 4 days, she was back on my porch, tearing, running back and forth, back and forth. I came out. She wouldn't come near me. She was scared to death. And then I noticed the top of her ear was gone and her belly was shaved clean. And I was like, oh, shit. Somebody TNVR'd the cat. And TNVR means trap, neuter, vaccinate, release. And that's what the Humane Society does, right? And so they grabbed her and did the service on her without collecting the kittens. Probably didn't even look for them. And I'm like, oh no. I was terrified because I was like, oh my God, that means that those kittens, because they couldn't be weaned yet. They must be still not even a month old. They were left out there somewhere. This is what my logic. I was like, they were left out here somewhere. Unless they took the kittens. If they took the kittens, they'd have kept them so they could adopt them out, because people always kitten. Or they would have TNVR'd them and dumped them with mama. But they were too young for that. A TNVR would kill them. But she found her kittens and brought them here. And I've been showing that. I've been showing a video clip of it off and on all night. She brought them. She went and found them. She found 2 and brought them on the porch. Or no, under my shed. She put them under my shed. And then she found the other two, because then suddenly there were 4 of them. She brings them on the porch in the morning. And then brings them under the shed at night. And I'll play the short again one more time, because this is her with them on my back porch. It's a little fuzzy there. And Rich made a donation to the channel. Thank you, Rich. Thank you very much. He says for the obviously it's for Mama and Kittens. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate it. It helps because this puts me at 17 now. But I was like, oh, thank God they're alive. Because 4 days and they are still nursing, it could have killed them. But the Humane Society, for all they tell you, they don't care. I promise you they do not care, because I have known them, because I've worked with people that are connected to them before, to get inexpensive vaccination services and stuff, because it costs a lot to care for them sometimes. Especially, all of mine are TNVR'd, so but I had it done so that they won't keep reproducing, and I have 500 cats. I've known them to find a feral mama who's still pregnant, and they'll abort them. It's horrible. I'm like, how can you do that? So they knew this was a nursing cat and took it anyways and did the service. And I'm like, this cat's nursing and that those kittens might die in the wild. That's awful. How can you do that? Hold on, I'll show you another short here. Oh, let me, okay, yeah. Here's another one of them without mama. And you see the little tiny one hiding in the habitat. You see how small they are. 2 of them are standing in the bowl. That's how tiny these guys are. And I'm like, how can you, you want to call yourself the Humane Society and you care about cats and dogs, and you'll do that knowing that they could die in the wild. I'm just glad she found all 4 of them and brought them close to where I can keep an eye on them. And when they are old enough, because they have not been serviced, it's clear. When they're old enough, I'll take care of them. And if it's, and that can get expensive. And if I have to, I'll just do another GoFundMe for it, because I've done that before. Because last time I did 11 or 12, and that gets expensive. But I'd rather handle it than let them do it. You see how tiny they are? Little balls of fluff. The one that's in the habitat, short hair, and those guys are real fluffy. Yeah, Rich says Inhumane Society. No kidding. No kidding. But that really upset me. That really upset me. And I'm like, oh my God, how can you? Yeah, they say, oh, we're trying to help them, and we're trying to do this and that, and whatever. But how horrible! I know I'm way off track here. Yeah, I really do care about these animals, so it means a lot to me. And then Granny Smith again, just for the hell of it, being a butthole. That's big fat little Granny. Granny Smith's actually a very small cat. And I showed this earlier because I changed out the pad in that. That's a scratch pad. And they get worn out, and I changed it, and she'll lay on it. She's been laying on it for days. She won't let anybody use it. But you see that on that close-up right there? This is what I was talking about. If you see a cat like this, wait till it gets up close in her face again there real quick. Hold on. I'm watching for the right spot. When I know I close up in her face. If you see, there it is, her left ear, how the top of her left ear is missing. That's what they do when they TNVR a cat, so that they don't pick them up again by accident and waste their time trapping a cat that's already been clipped. That's how the Humane Society identifies a cat that's already been serviced. because Granny Smith was a feral outdoor cat that we brought in when we discovered her elbow was broken, and nursed her back to health, but she's permanently disabled now. She limps. She's not in pain, but she limps everywhere. And that's the cats. that's the cats, ladies and gentlemen. My little my good deed for all of the bad stuff I did when I was young. Rich said that's a bad tip cut. They don't care. They don't care. You should see the one on Hobo. If you see a close up of him, it looks like they ripped it off with their teeth. It, like, half his ear is gone and it's all jagged. It's like, who the hell did? I was so pissed when they did that to Hobo. I was pissed when they did that to Hobo, because I've seen it where it's just a little bit, and some of them, I mean, because they don't care, they're just running through. When I had the group done, they were going so fast. It was Dusty's kittens. Dusty, one of the cats that we adopted out a long time ago, and she gave birth to 4 kittens, right? I was told that they were working so fast, TNVRing that group, that the vet actually sliced himself by accident. Actually sliced his hand open because they were tearing through it so quick. Hobo's good though, Rich. Hobo's always good. Now that he was dying when we found him, but he's great now. He's great now. A little love goes a long way. Hobo's in fantastic shape, and he's still our yard cat. Him and Dad are like bookends. They're the cat ambassadors for the neighborhood. And I'll run it through again here. Watch out, coming up. Unboxing video. There's your preview. My wife's Wheeled Warriors. But we will have another unboxing video, hopefully coming up in a week. I am going to be here shortly. I hope I can do it next week. The Sears 1979 Wish Book walkthrough, which I will set it up as a live walkthrough, and I will try to do it as a premiere. I'll do it as a upcoming special to give people fair warning. Look at the classic gumball machines. $21.99. Is that the right price for those? Antiqued old-fashioned bank vending machines, it says, comes in 3 colors. Amazing. I love this. But yeah, I will be doing this, and we're thinking about doing a video since we do the weekly roundup all the time. No, Robert, we're not taking anything out of the package. We're just unboxing packages. We're not opening anything. My wife doesn't like opening anything either. We're not opening anything like that. But we're thinking about doing a video talking about the top 5 toy lines that just need to stop. They just need to stop making them. They just need to take a break, take a breath, take a year off, for God's sakes, and quit cranking this stuff out week after week after week after week. You know what I mean? But yeah, because we've been doing unboxings like every couple of weeks. Nothing massive. I'm not, I don't have a fortune to spend. I'm not balling out of control here. I'm not in the millionaires club. And it's like every week, I picked this up. It only cost me $12,000. No, none of that is going on here. I wish. Rich likes the Gotcha Man jet. Yeah, from last night's weekly roundup from Ramen Toys, which is officially licensed. And I was like, wow, that's I think that's pretty neat. And it's a 3-inch figure though, but that's appropriate because that's about the size of the original sets that were done of things like that. And I'm thinking particularly of Space Cateers. and their play sets with vehicles and figures, those figures are about that size. And look, it's Lady Pop Hunter. That's my lovely wife. Hello, where are you watching from, sweetheart? I'll be joining you here in a little bit. We've been watching a lot of vintage wrestling together. 70s and 80s matches from Madison Square Garden and, the Philadelphia Spectrum Arena and places like that. Robert says no hot toys every week. No, she did get that one. She did get that one in the last one. But yeah, we've been watching a lot of the vintage wrestling, and it's interesting to watch how it unfolds and how it progresses and changes, moving into the golden age of wrestling, which is right across the mid 80s. And my wife says she's in the living room watching 2 episodes of Unsolved Mysteries. Not a huge fan of Unsolved Mysteries. I don't like when Unsolved Mysteries would do stuff like Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster and crap, and psychics and people who melt spoons and crap. Rich has Gatchaman Series 2 and 3. I've got that back here. It's cute. We're gonna, when we get back into our Saturday morning cartoons and stuff, I've got the series here. It's Gatchaman Series 1, 2, and 3. Series 1, 2, and 3. And one of them fell out. The box sets. That one slipped out. But yeah, just classic anime. I love this stuff. But yeah, I've got the whole thing. Rich says, did you hear that Sting has a son that now wrestles that moves like him? No, we don't watch anything modern. We fell out of it a long time ago. We're not fans of the modern stuff. So I really don't know a whole heck of a lot about whatever's going on in the modern arena as far as wrestling is concerned. Robert says he only likes Battle of the Planets, can't get into the other versions. Well, Gatchaman and Battle of the Planets are the same exact show. It's got 3 different titles: Gatchaman, G-Force, and Battle of the Planets. All the same show, Robert. They just changed the titles around. Gatchaman is what they called it in Japan. When they brought it here and dubbed it, they called it either G-Force or Battle of the Planets. The same show. Same show. Yeah, LPH is noticing that some of the names have changed. YouTube went in and messed everybody's names up. They changed a lot of people's names. Yours is the same. It says Lady Pop Hunter. Mine is the same, but a lot of other people's have changed. Master Payne says his local station showed the version called Eagle Riders. I'm not sure if I've heard that name, but I've heard the other 3. But that's one of those things that they did. One of those things they did back in the day. But yeah, again, LPH, they changed everybody. They changed a lot of people's @% monikers and altered them, and some of them aren't even recognizable. I looked at, I'm like, I recognize the thumbnail, and it's like, hey, is that you? And they're like, yeah, what happened to my name? It wasn't me. It wasn't me. It's the algorithm decides what's best for you. The algorithm decides what's best for you. Okay, so suck it up, because this is the way that the world is going. I know I'm awful. I'm awful. But yeah, ScrewTube, that's what they believe. That's what they believe. So they know what's best for you. They're going to nanny state you and treat you like little children, even to the point of changing your name without your permission or knowledge or consent. So what are you gonna do? But yeah, I've got Gatchaman, or Battle of the Planets, however you want to call it, queued up. And also Speed Racer. I've got the Speed Racer set. I've got Robotech queued up. And we'll get to it. We got all the time in the world. All the time in the world. We watched, we finished last year Star Blazers. One of my all-time favorites, Star Blazers. Except for the third season. 1 and 2, classic. The third season didn't feel like Star Blazers. It didn't feel right at all. And I couldn't really get into it. I was like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? But I could rewatch the first 2 seasons anytime. The third season, I don't know if I would really want to be bothered to watch it again. Because like I said, it didn't feel, never mind, the animation looks different. The voices are all different. And the direction of the storyline doesn't feel like Star Blazers. It starts off okay, but then it gets weird. And you're like, what is this? What did they do? So I don't know. That's just my opinion of it. That's just my opinion of it. But yeah, do watch out for those upcoming videos, an unboxing video, Sears Wish Book video. I also, tomorrow, I will be putting up the new vintage holiday cartoon classic special video. Weird stuff you may have never seen, or if you did, you were probably like 6 and don't remember it until now, with commercials put in. Some vintage commercials inserted throughout. And it should be almost 2.5 hours long, going up on this channel tomorrow. I'll do that. I've already got it loaded into YouTube. It's just sitting there waiting to be queued up. Yeah, Robert mentions Captain Harlock and Galaxy Express. I remember watching Galaxy Express. I remember watching Galaxy Express. I was older though, not as a kid. Not as a kid. When I was a kid, it was G-Force, Speed Racer, and Force 5, which was that block, after school block on UHF, where every day it was a different show, 5 shows. And then Robotech, Star Blazers, that kind of stuff. Force 5 I used to really love too. I used to love watching Force 5. And that's like Guy King is on one day and Space Skateers is on another day, something like that. They had a good, I used to want to run home to see that after school every day. Wanted to run home to see that with the mecha robots. And then Mr. Big Toyland from Moody Street in Waltham, which no longer exists, would advertise during that commercial block that they had those toys, not just like Shogun Warrior stuff from Mattel, but they specialized in Japanese imports of the actual stuff. And a toy store I never got to go to as a child. Never got to go there. And I could just imagine, the stuff that they used to show in their commercials, and it's like, oh my God, but the real Japanese stuff, far beyond anything that Mattel put out. From all of those shows and beyond. Because usually the only other place you could get the Japanese stuff in the 70s would either be Hawaii or California. So for a shop in Massachusetts to have it was crazy. Robert remembers the Filmation Tarzan was done well. Also thought it should run back to back with Filmation Flash Gordon. Yeah, Flash Gordon, I believe, was on a different network, wasn't it? And coincidentally enough, Tarzan was on a Saturday morning block on CBS. And they had what? Tarzan and the Lone Ranger and a couple of other shows. There were 7 shows, and it was called Tarzan and the Super 7. And I always meant to ask Brian when I see him at shows, is that why you named the show, named the company Super 7? Is it because of the Filmation block of cartoons from CBS? Yeah, but Rich says Guy King, Space Gateers, Grendizer, Danguard Ace, and Getter Robo. Yeah, that's right. I don't remember if I don't know if that's just the exact order. I forget because I haven't seen it since I was a kid. I have Space Gateers. I have Space Gateers, and I think I have Guy King too, but I haven't seen it in forever. One of these days I'll have to queue it up. Speed Racer I saw when I was very young, and then it disappeared. But I remember watching it when I was very young, the Speed Racer. I seen the movie, the live action film, which actually wasn't bad. It wasn't that bad. It was kind of fun. And Rich says Space Gateers was a replacement for Great Mazinga, but they couldn't because they couldn't get Mazinga's rights in America. That's funny. No, I don't know if I've heard that before. I don't know if they've heard that before. But I'm over the 2-hour mark, so I'm gonna go ahead and start signing off. Get back with my wife here and give her some relief. She's been sitting with Dad. And hey, we'll probably watch some vintage wrestling because that's what we've been doing lately. I wanted to give special thanks to Pastor Rick, to Stone Sour, to Rich, and to Raccoon Eyes also for making donations to the channel. Raccoon made a donation directly to PayPal. Say, hey, thank you very much, guys, for helping us out with the felines. It means a lot. I enjoy taking care of them. And yeah, all the help I can get, I appreciate it. There's Raccoon. So I'll go ahead and start signing off again. A lot of stuff coming up this week. So, and there's Master P. Thanks for the show. Absolutely. Glad you could join us. Watch out for the stuff that's upcoming. Again, Sears Wish Book unboxing video or mail call video, I guess is a better description. But and the cartoon block that's going up tomorrow, vintage Christmas stuff that you might enjoy. Very nostalgic, I think. So thanks everybody. Hope you had a good time, and hopefully we'll do this again sometime soon.